Okay, it says we are live on
Oh,
YouTube.
oh,
So we're
okay.
we're live. Welcome. It is Failing Forward Friday, and for those of you that have been kind of following us, we're just a wee bit late today. I'm Tracy Huff, the confidence coach with.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm gonna try.
It says we are live
Oh,
on YouTube.
oh,
Now I've
oh,
got it
oh.
going. We're on the struggle bus today. Failing Forward Friday, and for those of you that have been kind of following us, we're just a wee bit late today.
Happening.
I'm
All
Tracy,
right,
the
I'm gonna
confidence
just
coach
close
with.
that.
Right. All right. We're on the struggle bus today. We don't care because it's Failing Forward Friday. And ironically, we were going to talk about how to fail forward through your mistakes. So we've been making some mistakes right here live in the moment. But the mistakes that we were talking about were just mistakes that you might make with customers or mistakes that you might make with people and some things that you can do to fail forward through those. Sometimes you have been on the receiving end of those mistakes, and sometimes you create them in your business inadvertently. So we wanted to talk about the things that we have found that can help you move forward through those. And I think, Dina, the first thing is not getting defensive when someone comes to you and says that there was a mistake, right? Or someone comes to you and says something that you didn't do, something that maybe you think that you did or that you did. And I think the first rule is just don't get defensive about it, because I'm human, they're human, right? And everybody makes
Or,
mistakes.
but I'm part human.
Yeah. 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 For those that don't know, tell them your other half, Dina. If you're only part
My other
human,
half,
you are.
huh?
And
Sorry,
if
Tracy.
your other half is
It's
you're
cyborg.
part human and cyborg.
I'm part human. I'm part cyborg. It's okay, you guys. We exist among you. We're just here to help. We're watching too much sci-fi. Hmm.
Oh,
We're
but
here
I
to help
think
for people.
here to help is really what we do in our businesses, right? We all do our businesses for a lot of different reasons. And so, mistakes are going to happen because even though we're not all part cyborg like Dina, we all are part human. And sometimes we get overwhelmed. Sometimes we think we did things that we didn't do. So the first thing is to not get defensive about it, right? To not get defensive about it and just listen to what that person is saying to you,
That's a
right? And
hard
so
thing to do.
it can be. Yeah, it definitely can be, because our natural instinct, because most of the time, I don't know about for you, Dina, I know for me, but most of the time when I'm getting those kinds of things happen, it's usually when I'm in the middle of five other things, right? It usually happens during
Yeah.
class, or like I get a phone call when I'm in the middle of doing something else, and you're not like in a customer service brain space, I think. And so sometimes you have to like I have to make myself pause
Can
to
I stop
listen.
for a minute? I'm going to have to steal that. When someone approaches me about something, I'm going to have to say, I'm sorry, but I'm not in a customer service brain space right now. Can you wait another 5 minutes?
Yeah, or call me between the hours of
Yeah,
our
call me between the hours of.
yeah, our customer service department is closed at the moment.
I'm sorry, we're closed at the moment, but we will take your message.
Yeah, yeah, but like we do that in our business, especially when we do so many roles. Like we're, a manager, we're an accountant, we're all of these roles in our business before, even when we delegate and even when we have other people. There's just things that I know for me, when I get to the karate school at night, I'm the martial arts instructor, right? Like that's the mindset that I'm in. I'm in that mind, versus when I'm getting set for coaching appointments and I can be in that mind. So it's a habit you have to train, but the first step is just to just not react. Like take a breath and just listen, really listen to what they're saying without formulating that answer, you know. And then I think the second thing is make sure, like, what is the outcome that they want? Like, what is the outcome that they want? Making sure you
It's so
understand that. 'Cause,
hard too.
yeah,
You know, right along the lines, I love that, Tracy, the outcome that they want, because I know that both of us also being veterans and right along the lines of Veterans Day, we get used to a different response in the military than we do in civilian sector because everything seems so like such first world problems in the civilian sector. Whereas I was talking to this about another vet in the military, it's like the problems are much bigger, you know?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And everyone's perspective is different, like
Yeah.
what I had someone call, I swear I put this person's account on hold. Their son was going through some stuff, he needed to take a break. So I swear I put it on hold. So when she called me, she was like, "Yeah, we got charged." I was like, I swear I put that on hold. And then of course I apologized. I said, "I'm so sorry." And she's like, "Oh no, it's okay. I just wanted to make sure, right? Because if it wasn't okay, then I would know how to handle it from there. But I
I've done
knew,
that before,
yeah,
forgotten to do that for somebody, and I felt so bad about it because I'm very scatterbrained. And now I tell people, because I know because of my head injury, I tell people, make sure that you come to my office and make me do it in front of you.
yeah, yeah.
'Cause
And
even with a million sticky notes everywhere, it might not happen.
yeah, and sometimes like the way the system works, it could have been the date I told it to come off. I don't know. But knowing what was important to her was the first thing that I needed to figure out. So I knew how to handle it from there. And then I felt bad. Like then, when stuff like that happens, that's where we go into, "Oh my God, I suck. I'm the worst person in the world. I'm the worst business person in the world. Oh my God. How did I do?" They think
Excuse me, ma'am, you may be the second or not. I'm the first. Take that lead.
that's right. Yeah. You can't have that title. But that's where
Yeah.
like that's how everything from there. That's how everything goes down here from there. But those are the biggest things. And I was listening to a training on it's called a Business Freedom Blueprint, and he shared a story about one of his customers. Like he had a customer, and the guy called him, and he was in the middle of a call, and he knew what had happened. It was some problem. There was a problem with the account. He didn't know what the problem was, but the guy had called him, and instead of waiting to figure out what the problem was before he called the guy back, he called the guy back within like 5 minutes. And the guy really thought he was going to like not do that. He thought, I didn't think you're going to call me back. I thought you're going to make me wait. And so he talked to the customer and said, I don't know why that happened, but I just want to make sure I talked to you and I let you know I'm going to find out. And he did, and he found out and he took care of it. But years later, that customer was still with them when they made a transition to something else because of how he handled that moment. And
Yeah,
so,
people want to know that we care, that we made the mistake, and that we acknowledge that we
yeah,
faulted, because I can't tell you how many times I've profusely apologized, It's bought a t-shirt yesterday. I forgot who it was. I had to go through my camera system, figure out, charge this person with a shirt because like, well, who was that? And I was like, let me check the dates, and then I'm seeing us walking towards the t-shirt thing because that happens, when
yeah,
we say charge your card or
yeah. Like, yes, but and it's a system thing and it's a process thing. And it's something
yeah.
that happens like when we have that like explosive growth, like when we have like a buttload of new customers at the same time, like that's when we see the weaknesses in those things. And then we just
So
gotta like,
80s.
yeah,
We still say that. Buttload of stuff.
buttload,
Such an 80s
buttload,
term.
explosive. I was watching Scorpion, and there was a Scorpion is that show about the geniuses, and the one genius was got kicked out of like the genius club because he didn't understand like by giving his fellow geniuses explosive diarrhea that was a bad thing. So ever since then, like explosive has been attached to my head to diarrhea, but
We find
explosive.
funny in our generation. It's like I get looks from young people like, what is that about? I'm like cracking. Dave and I are cracking up over some reference to a 1980s movie that was applicable in today's time. Oh.
Oh, and now those are called classics. And moving on. Yeah,
Moving on to something more mature.
moving on to the classics. And that I'm 29 forever, but that's the thing. So yeah, so that's just the impact of how you handle those moments is more important than the moment. And sometimes we can get caught up in being right. We can get caught up in, feeling disrespected. We can get caught up in feeling our feelings. And so moving forward through mistakes is making it about the customer and finding the best solution for them, because you just don't know where that's going to come from. And we're not perfect. And I'm sure like you're going to have people that you cannot make happy. You're going to have people that are never going to be satisfied with what you do. You're going to have people that are going to tell them that you're the worst person in the world, because we can't please everyone. That is not something we're trying to do. But I think Dina and I are very similar in this, and that We do the best that we can do in the moment that we have, right? Like we can just treat them the way that we would want to be treated, and that's all we got. And sometimes that's not
Yeah.
going to be good enough for people.
Yeah.
But
Yes. If a person's unhappy with who they are, nothing in the world's going to make them happy. You could be the best customer service, you could be everything, but they're unhappy with themselves. But I always notice that people that are really comfortable with themselves and happy with themselves, it's like stuff is a little, oh, no problem. I know you'll handle it. It's just everything
yeah,
becomes more simple. So,
yeah. And then the other part of handling mistakes in your business, so you got to learn from it. So if there's a flaw in your system or a flaw in your process, you do need to fix that, or attempt to fix it. And it might take a few times doing different solutions to figure that out. But the other thing that I think I know for
yeah,
me as a small business owner is I take those so personally. Like
absolutely.
I've personally defrauded them, or like I personally, I did something like that. So I just share that to say that everybody feels that way. Well, not everybody. I mean, there are people that are like, not a little unscrupulous, but for the most part, like we don't want to do our business that way. And just because you make a mistake doesn't mean that you did. It just means your focus was somewhere else, right? You were focused on something different.
There's times where, because my card got compromised a couple times, where I have so many different vendors and different avenues that I forget to update it, with everyone. And then I get a notice and I call and apologize to them. I'm so sorry. I got a new card and I didn't change the card on the system. And, I feel so bad about it because everybody needs to get paid what they're owed. Even, people that you think have money, they have to pay bills too. And,
Mhm.
so I always feel bad when I don't deliver
Well, and
right when
then
I'm
too,
supposed
I
to.
think that's the same thing. Like we don't, most of the time we avoid talking about the mistake because of how we feel about the mistake, right? So on the opposite end of that, like same thing happened to me. We moved in July. I thought that my trash was on automatic pay because it has always has been. But I didn't know when I moved to the new place, I had to like reset that up. And so when they called me, I was like, "Oh dang, I thought you guys I thought that was done." Right? But on the same token, if you're in the position that you can't do that, don't avoid the conversation. Like tell the people what's going on and then say it. But we avoid that. We avoid that because we feel bad about it, guilty about it. We don't
That's
have
the
a
truth.
right. We might not have a solution. We don't know an answer. But doing that makes everything worse. Makes everything worse. So whether it was
You know what I like about you is you're open. You're open to everyone. You will tell it. I love when people are so open with communication that they'll tell you exactly, instead of letting it fester and fester. You're open about it. You'll say at the beginning, okay, here's what I think the issue could be, and here's what I think how it could be solved. I like that.
thank you. We try. But a lot of
Yeah.
it's because when I have avoided conversations and I have avoided those things, the outcomes were so much worse than if I had just said, this is what's going on with me, and I don't have a solution, and I don't know what I can do. Right. But opening that door gives them a chance to partner with you to figure it out. Right. And that the minimum,
Yeah.
you at least know what you're working with versus not knowing and avoiding, and all of the emotions and all the energy that goes into those emotions that drains you from taking that same energy and building something great or taking some positive action. So
We think about it too when we make a mistake, don't we? We think about it in our mind like over and over again. How could I have done this? Oh man, this person probably is so mad at me right now. This person probably thinks they can't trust me with something else. So
right. There's always going to be something that you think that you can do better, or that you think you could have handled better or done better. And there's always something in your business and I know if this is for me, I'm like, I need to do that. Why don't I consistently do that? Again, we're human. We got to set up processes. We've got to focus on the things that are important, but handling mistakes in the moment that they're in, handling it as best you can with what you have is the best that you can do. And then keep
yeah,
moving forward and learn from it. So they don't have to be fatal. It doesn't have to be fatal. It can be that thing that helps you grow, right? It can help you grow as a person. It can help you grow as a leader. It can help you grow as a business owner. It can help you grow administratively with your processes. If you just look at it as a way to improve, because you want people to tell you when there are mistakes happening, because if they don't tell you, they're telling 10 of their friends.
that's a good point too. That's a good point. Have you ever had where you made a mistake and somebody and then it just grew and grew, and someone like I guess mishandled it to the point where they just like blew it out of proportion, and then it just, you know what I mean? And then all these people thought it was something else.
Yeah. Yeah. Once or twice.
Yeah.
And again, life lessons, because if you just, I don't know, confess. I don't know if it's a confession. It's just being willing to be open and being willing to be vulnerable. Right. And that's a scary thing in itself, because you don't want them to say what you're saying to yourself in your head. You suck. You're the worst business person in the world. Your business is horrible. Right. You don't want them to
You
say
know,
that.
we all have that little bit of imposter syndrome anyway. So with the fact that I knew it, I knew I couldn't do this, you know,
Exactly. Exactly. And that's what like we get into. I've been doing a lot of training with Christian Michelson, who coaches. And he's been he says what was I gonna tell you? He says we're all like everyone has those moments. But he says that our fears are really fears of feelings. So if we take the time to really feel the feeling, then we can overcome the fear. And that's like one of the most empowering things I got from like the training that I initially did with him, was that our fears are just we're based on our feelings. And if we can focus on feeling our feelings instead of shoving them down and shoving them down and shoving them down, we can more easily go through those fears. And that's our biggest fear when there's a mistake, that people are going to say those things. And then you got to say, what's the worst if they do say those things, then what's the worst thing that can happen? Right? They're not going to pay you,
no,
and they're going to tell
Tracy,
10 of your
that's so
friends.
on point because when I had my last mini strokes, it diminished my mental capacity a lot. And I had to slowly like build from there. And so I was very nervous about, because I used to be sharp before, a lot sharper. And I was very nervous about telling people I have this, you know, but it's so much better if people know where you're coming from, why. So now I
Mhm.
tell people, okay, I'm going to tell you something. Can you wait? Can you do it in my office now? Because, and make me do it in front of you because I have memory issues. I have problems associated with my head trauma and stuff like that. And I notice it's so much better. But you know, it's funny also, I gauge, sometimes I feel like a cyborg, like I don't have emotion because I gauge my emotion, correct response based on a group of older ladies that I know are mature and they respond properly. And I look the way they act towards each other and the
You,
way they, and then I see, oh, that's normal. I can say that, or I can do this, or I should say that, you know.
I think, I don't know. I mean, I don't know what normal is. I think it should be normal for you. I mean, there are social standards, right? And there are things that, as a business owner, there are things that you can and cannot do and say, but I think the closest we can be to who we are, is what makes our business different than our competitors. Like the more you infuse you into how you do it, makes I used to struggle with this so much with my business years ago, is like, how can I be different? How can I be different? I am different. I just have to be different, like be in my business, be in my business and try and do that. We had in class last night, we were doing some falling, and we talked about like, tucking your chin so you don't hit your head. And I was in another line and I went to switch lines, and little Shankari, she was upset. I said, Shankari, what happened? She said, and they said, oh, she hit her head. I said, remember the tucking your chin thing? And she was like, I said, I know exactly what you mean. When I was doing my second degree black belt test, I hit my head so hard, the whole room said, just like that, like,
Oh,
they thought I concussed myself. I
yeah.
said, that's what I tell you, to tuck your chin, because I did it in front of like 80 people, Miss Shankari. And the parents started laughing. I said, that's really a true story. Like, that's really a true story. I hit my head
That's
so
funny.
because I didn't think he was going to take me down. I thought he was just going to put me in an armbar, and he took me down, and I wasn't ready, because at that time I didn't have people that I could train that with. So I never got to train that. I just knew the concepts. And man, when he hit me hard and fast, and I said, cacao, into the back of that bottom, I was more concerned if I had cussed or not, because that's how hard I hit my head. Like I hit my head hard. And even like my partner was, Mr. Akins was like, I said, I'm fine, sir. Totally my fault. Totally my fault. But like telling Shankari that, she completely felt better, right? And the parents, they laughed, but I said, that's a true story, for real. It happened. It happened. But
Yeah.
like being able to be that and not be afraid to tell my students that I made that mistake too, you know. That's why we train the way we train. All of the mistakes I made, I infuse it into my training so you don't make them, and just being
Yeah.
able to do that with my students makes me different than the other schools that they go into. And that's really where, we can be ourselves. So Dina, be you. Everybody loves you and who you are, but understanding that it's a result of something that was a little traumatic gives them a little more grace. Like, oh yeah, Dina, she does have that thing. So we're gonna write it down for her. We're gonna do this for her. Absolutely.
I love
Because
my clients though. They'll tell me, most of them know, they'll tell me, like, they'll say, okay, write this down, get a sticky note. I love that. I love that they're honest with me about, you need to get a sticky note because I know you're going to forget, or you need to do this because I know you're going to forget. Did you do that? Do it now.
that's right. Don't make me
I'm
come get
going.
you.
I'm going to do it now.
Yeah. So, and that's just because now they know her and they know, and they have her. So we don't have to be perfect and we don't have to be invulnerable and we don't have, so get yourself off the hook. The only thing you have to do is be the best you can be today and then be a little bit better tomorrow and a little bit
My
better.
staff does the same thing too. They're like, they keep me on track.
We
They
all
keep
need
me on
it though.
track.
We all need
Yeah.
it. We all need it. It's not a
Yeah.
one per everybody needs somebody to just help them be accountable, right? Help them be
Do you
accountable.
ever miss being told what to do? Because I do sometimes. I miss working for the man.
I
I
know.
miss
So
that sometimes.
I know. So
And someone saying, do this because
enjoy.
I know I'm good at that. I can do that. He told me to do that, or she told me to do that. I can do that. Now you're like, who do I ask? God, who do I
You know,
ask?
I always say when we go to a different events, and this is before I, you know, like when we used to go to martial arts events and I was a first degree black belt, I'd be like way in the back. And then like as I progressed, now I'm like way in the front. And I was like, I hate that. I don't want to be in the front. I want to go someplace and just do, right? Right. I don't want to think about the lesson plan. I don't want to create the training. I just want to go be in the training. I love that. Yeah. People
You
don't
know,
understand that.
that's what
Because I
I
do.
loved when I hired Laura to do my event planning, Laura McGrath to do event planning. It was great. She was like, she did took care of everything. I'd think about something. She's already in my head. She's like, I did this, I did that, I did that. I was like,
Yeah. Yeah.
that's why we hire the experts, people.
Yeah, you just need to like, and that goes with a different thing. This isn't this failing forward Friday, but like not being the leader of your pack, like getting yourself to the next pack where you're the last person and you have to learn again to be up front. But yeah, I do miss being, the receiver and not the coordinator, organizer, and implementer of things like that. It's our norm, right? It's our norm, but
Something to be said for that,
yeah, yeah, it's nice when you can go and then just be. Yeah, I do enjoy that. I do enjoy that. All right. Well, on that note, happy Veterans Day to all of our veterans. All right. Happy Veterans
Happy
Day, Miss
Veterans Day, you
Dina.
guys. Thank you for your service, Tracy.
Thank you for your service, Dina. Thank you guys for your service. Go
Uh,
have a great Veterans Day. If you're in Fayetteville or Hope Mills, you can see me at the Hope Mills Chili Cook-Off. Yes, I am. I am an entrant. I am cooking chili. I will be feeding you.
oh, and Dirtbag Ales,
Yes, at Dirtbag Ales from
I'll
12 to
be
4.
there. I'm one of the sponsors. Yeah.
Yay! So yeah,
Dirtbag Ales tomorrow, you guys. 12 to
yeah.
4.
So come see us if you're in the
For the booth.
area. Hang out with us. It's going to be great. It's always a lot of fun. There's a lot of vendors. There's a lot of veterans organizations out there, and they're raising money for veterans
Yeah.
organizations between the chamber and Dirtbag Ales. We're going to do a lot of good to support the veterans. So do that. Be amazing. Go fail. Go fail big. Go fail epically. We're here doing it with you, and we'll